In the less effective way of qualifying, the next step would be to let her off the hook, also called releasing, by throwing a small indicator of disinterest like, "I can't even talk to you anymore," then return to the normal conversation. This is where guys who first get into pickup get into trouble most of the time. You don't need to let her off the hook like that every time. In fact, if you follow this less effective cycle dogmatically, the girl will easily notice it. You may even have girls respond to such a release by saying, "Okay, bye," so that you can understand better how not to release and why qualifying is more practical. Pay attention to this interaction.
Actually, I am German. How did you know that?
Oh man, you're German. I can't even talk to you anymore.
Okay, bye.
Remember, you might be able to get away with that form of releasing once or even twice, but it really won't get you anywhere better than qualifying, which is a far more effective method to generate compliance and can be used in your interactions far more often than a method based on releasing. Whenever you have the opportunity to reward a girl for qualifying, do so, because you want to encourage her to qualify more. If you punish her socially for doing something positive in the interaction, it will more likely backfire on you. The key to releasing, and when it is most effective and used in place of qualifying, is to do it only when a woman feels uncomfortable with you hitting on her. If she is accepting your compliments and likes them, then there is no reason to release and it will seem fake. In that case, just keep structuring opportunities in the interaction for her to want to qualify herself to you and then reward her for it. One of the main reasons that guys have problems being able to qualify girls is that they go in with the intention of trying to qualify a girl from the position of a fake superiority instead of actually trying to find out what is cool about the girl. When you plow her with questions that you just end up releasing, it comes across as fake. If you were really that interested in her nationality, you would probably ask a question like, "Have you ever been to Germany?" or other normal conversation extenders. The more actual interest you can show after she's qualified on something, the better. The actual best way to release is to throw in a non sequitur tease. Something along the lines of, "Too bad you're such a dork." The point of a release is to pop the bubble of tension that's been created by hitting on her. This makes her more comfortable as you've released the tension created by hitting on her. But remember, you don't have to do it every time, and you shouldn't do it every time. Only release when she appears uncomfortable with you hitting on her, generally after a bigger IOI. Another way of releasing tension on smaller hoops is to structure a challenge of her quality.
Are you adventurous?
Yeah, totally.
Awesome, I love adventurous people. They're so much more fun to be around. What's the most adventurous thing you've ever done? And don't say running with scissors.
I went skydiving once.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
The last thing to mention is the idea of continuous qualification, meaning that comfort and qualification, and later on relationship and qualification, are going to cycle indefinitely. You will need to keep giving her reasons that you like her forever. So when you are stuck for things to say on a date or 10 years into your marriage, find a reason and tell the girl why you like her. It works just as effectively as in the first 10 minutes. Use disqualification and negs early to establish the frame that you're not chasing or hitting on the girl. The idea is not to insult the woman, but rather to disqualify yourself as a suitor and create a frame where you are not chasing her. Err on the side of funny and teasing rather than serious and direct. Some negs will be ambiguous, but go out of your way not to come off as a hostile jerk. In pickup, misinterpretation is taking the stance that whatever she says is her hitting on you. Simply misinterpreting her words or action is a funny way to disqualify yourself and keep her on guard.
Where are you from?
I live downtown, but no, I will not take you home with me. I mean, I hardly know you.
Role-playing is the act of playfully giving women roles or giving yourself a role and acting them out in an interaction. Role-playing is an example of leading a woman on an emotional journey. Role-playing first and foremost brings women out of the here and now. It's important to distinguish ourselves from other guys by getting out of the here and now. For example, by telling a girl you're going to dress her up in an angel, devil, or superhero outfit. You stop her from thinking about how she's getting hit on in a bar. The next important part of role-playing is that it allows her to take on a role and do things she may not have done without the role. We have many examples of this in the video series.
Are you kidding me? Look, I thought we talked about this. My mom hates smoking. She's gonna kill you. Look, sweetie, you promised me you were gonna quit.
Role-playing also pumps up a girl's buying temperature. This means that the more emotional a girl gets, the more open to escalation she becomes. So, if you can get a girl laughing really hard, she becomes less logical and thus easier to increase her interest. Logic is your enemy, so the more that you can disengage her logical mind by getting her to think about a ridiculous situation, the less inclined to logical she will become. After all, you are not really going to dress her up in a toga and take her to Greece and sell hot dogs on the beach. Now that we know what we're trying to do with role-playing, where does it fit into an interaction? Like a butter knife, the role-playing concept has quite a few uses. First, you can use it as a transition from opener into a normal conversation. You can also use it in the attraction phase to add some more emotion to a stalling set or to pump up buying temperature before you try to move or escalate. You can use role-playing on the phone as callback humor, which means referring back to a previous funny interaction or creating a new role-play while on the phone. Also use it in the bedroom, but that's for an entirely different DVD. Inevitably, if you are doing well, a woman will ask you personal questions. In many cases, if you answer her questions directly, you are allowing her to pigeonhole you into a certain image or stereotype. And if you answer too many questions about yourself, you will no longer be a mystery for her and she may move on. On the other hand, if you don't answer at all, the conversation will shut down. So it can become a delicate balance of how many and which questions to answer and when. In this section, we give some examples of good initial answers that are funny and act as disqualifiers. That is to say, they show you are not trying to impress her.
So, what do you do?
I'm a hand model.
This will have the added benefit of differentiating you from most guys who take the opportunity to brag when asked similar questions. In general, if in doubt, you can alternate giving one fake funny answer, then give a genuine answer. Otherwise, you can come off as defensive if you avoid giving any real answers at all. A good universal answer to all of these personal questions from women is simply to say, guess. While she guesses, you can take the time to think why she is asking the question and how to best handle it.